You are listening to the Sinister DreamCast Network.
Welcome to Sinister DreamCast.
I am Kizina.
I'm Julianna Hawk.
And I'm Keerstan.
'Tis a sad, sad day, everyone. And I'm not saying that sarcastically, because as I said it, I'm like, that sounds sarcastic. It isn't. So, as you probably figured from the title of this episode, which is Carry On, We Will Always Remember, we're going to be talking about the death of the late, great Carrie Fisher. At least a little bit today. This might be a bit of a... This is the last episode of 2016 for Sinister Dreamcast, and I feel like it's really appropriate that, like, we're looking back at the death of one of... Like, this is... I would say this is the biggest death of the year. I think this affects the most people. Like, Bowie was big, Prince was big, Alan Rickman was big, but, like, I think Carrie Fisher covers the most people. You know what I mean?
I mean, I was really, really upset about Bowie. I say was, like it's not present tense still. I'm still very upset about Bowie. I was in a huge shock over Bowie. I didn't completely break down over Bowie, and I will unapologetically admit that I did over Carrie Fisher.
I had to keep myself from breaking down because I almost broke down. Like, I saw it on... Because whenever I saw it, it was yesterday... I was, after lunch, I usually eat, and then I go back to my desk, and then just so I can be alone, because that's how I am. I think people think I don't like them. Like, no, I just want to eat alone and listen to podcasts. But I went back to my desk, and right before I was getting up to go back to work, the top had said, Carrie Fisher dies at 60. I'm like, nah. Yeah. No, I'm like, this is not cool, guys. You guys are being real douches. Like, that's not cool to joke about. So then I do what I always do whenever I see someone dying. I Google their name. Because that usually is like the top thing. And there was only one article about her dying. And then I also looked up on her website, and her website said nothing. And then I'm like, no, I'm not going to believe it. I'm not going to believe it yet. And then I walked away, and I get notifications on my phone through the news app for the Hollywood Reporter, and it popped up saying, and I still haven't gotten rid of it on my phone. If you drag it down the notification slide on my watch, rather, if you bring it down, it still says it, but it says that Carrie Fisher died at 60, and I'm like... Like, I thought she was stable. I thought she was doing better. So, I then screen capped it on my phone, and then I sent it to Jules, just writing "fuck" in all letters, all capital letters. But yeah, fuck.
Right? That's like the string of text that you sent me. It was just fuck, no, fuck, no, fuck.
I think there were a few more scattered no's,
yeah.
But yeah. And I didn't know if you were going to know what I was talking about when I sent you all those. They were all capital letters. There were no lowercase letters in that because you can't.
No.
You cannot lowercase letter when you're screaming that, you know, one of the greatest humans who's ever existed just died.
Yeah.
It's like, we lost Space Mom.
Right?
What do we do now?
Especially, like... She was going to do so much in 2017, I have a feeling. Like, just as outspoken as she was, like, there's no way she could have been quiet through 2017.
Yeah, if she had actually pulled through, like, 2017 was going to be a whole new era of Carrie Fisher being a bitch, and it was going to be beautiful.
Honestly, if she pulled through, I don't think that was going to be the case. I think she was going to be quiet until next December, to be honest with you, if she pulled through.
Really?
Yeah, I think she would have started coming out with stuff like that, like whenever episode 8 came out. I think that's when she would have started, like, saying stuff, but I think she would have... I feel like her daughter and her siblings would all be like, yeah, you need to, like, chill the fuck out. You just, like, survive this. In alternate world, because in alternate world, Carrie Fisher is still alive.
Right.
There's another dimension, in the multi-world theory, which I don't give a fuck. I like to talk about it because it makes me feel better about certain things, and this is one of them. In the multi-world, she is still alive, and she's fine, and she's recovering. There's another, there's a world where she didn't even have a heart attack.
See, it doesn't make me feel better because I want to live in that world now.
I just like knowing that she's still alive somewhere in
Well,
with the multiverse theory.
Then there's also the Bowie apocalypse theory that
Yeah.
we had on Scenario Store News, and other people have already started echoing, totally uninfluenced by us, but we can pretend.
Right.
That it's like, yeah, David Bowie still didn't die. He just went home, and basically this is the rapture. We're going through the Bowie apocalypse right now. That he is rapturing up those that he wants to come home with him.
I
don't
still like that.
I don't subscribe to that theory because his son's still alive.
I mean, so are we. So he just
Right, but you said that theory is that he's bringing people that he wants to be with him. What, don't you think he'd want to be with his son?
well, maybe he just wanted to see how Warcraft was going to pan out, and now.
Well, Warcraft panned out a while ago.
Right, but then it set a whole new precedent for movies making money, so maybe now he's just like, well, let's just let him go a little longer. This could be interesting to watch.
I don't think he's doing the next Warcraft movie.
There's going to be another one?
Oh yeah, it made a shit ton of money overseas.
Huh.
It made it made 200 million overseas.
Wow.
It made 80 here. It made 200 million overseas.
Wow.
Yeah, I think 100 of the 200 million was made in China alone.
Wow.
Which is weird because apparently in the Warcraft culture, Chinese people are gold. Like you can hire like Chinese people to like mine gold for you. Like that's what a lot of Warcraft players in China do, is that they like
Oh, it's like an actual like business.
yeah,
Yeah. They do.
which is weird. But anyways. But yeah, no it's dumbfounding. I think that's the best way to put it. It's dumbfounding that she passed. Like, especially because it's like one of the three is gone. Like, one of the Star Wars 3 is now gone. That's a really bizarre feeling. And honestly, my money was on Harrison Ford, just because old.
Right. And he is accident prone.
He is really accident prone.
Yeah, I read that apparently, like, Carrie Fisher had completely wrapped filming on episode 8, and she was like a much larger role. So we're all gonna be sobbing uncontrollably when episode 8 comes out.
Like, I knew I already was gonna cry. I cried at the last one. God almighty.
I know, right?
Yeah, I guess luckily for Rian Johnson, I don't think he's started writing 9 yet. So that's probably going to help him out. I mean, from a production point of view, she died at a great time. Because now they're in post, and they're probably going to be able to manipulate some things. Or, I mean, he could just write it into the beginning. I mean, I don't think she would have a problem with them doing that CG thing that they did in Rogue One, if it just meant that, like, they're going to kill her off. I think she'd have a problem if it was like, let's replace her.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that just seems off.
No.
But we live in the future.
Yeah.
So...
Right.
Like, like they do with Tarkin. Tarkin's a little different because Peter Cushing's been dead for, like... Peter Cushing died, like, 2 months after Star Wars came out. So, like, he's been dead for the entirety of the Star Wars. Actually, I don't even think he saw Star Wars. I think he died actually, like, a couple months after the production was over.
Oh, wow.
But, I mean, he was old.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm interested to see... I mean, also Billie Lourd, her daughter, has a bigger part too, and 8 and 9, she has a bigger part. So
That'll be lots of tears.
Great. Yeah, this will be fun.
Yay! Crying in movie theaters, my favorite.
Oh,
Right.
Space Mom.
I mean, Bob Iger said some really nice things about it. Like, he didn't... Normally, you don't see, like, CEOs making comments when people die like that, but, like, Bob Iger actually, like, wrote, like, a really nice... Like, he released, like, a really nice statement about her. Yeah, like same Kathleen Kennedy also did too. You know who Bob Iger is, right?
I feel like I do.
Oh, the CEO of Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill's was really nice. It's just there's so much like outpouring. Like, I mean, I've even noticed too. Like, I have like a bunch of internet friends who don't even like Star Wars, and
Why are you friends with them?
I mean, it happens, but like they love Carrie Fisher, and so it's still like it's hitting a lot of people. Like even people who didn't come to her in the traditional way.
Well, she had the same. I think she had the same vibe as Bowie, where it's like she wouldn't die. Like you don't see her dying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and especially since it was like, you know, it was like we knew she had a heart attack, and then we heard that she was stable, and I think like we all kind of collectively just thought she was gonna pull through. So then that made that news hurt even worse.
Right.
Yeah, because we were hearing that, you know, like she was off, she wasn't on ventilators or anything like that. She was, once she got to the hospital, like they were able to like stabilize her and everything, which they were, but they didn't mention that it was life support, because she only lived that long. They were actually in the process of deciding if they wanted to take her off of life support, because they were doing that thing that, you know, like sometimes life support fixes it. They just like the body just needs to be on life support, needs that help, and then itself, what's the word I'm looking for?
Regulates.
Heals. It self heals. But like they were in the process, but in a very Carrie Fisher manner, she beat them to it, and she died before they could make the decision.
I mean, at least she gets out of seeing a Trump presidency.
Right?
Yeah. Because also, as of the time of this podcast, which might not be relevant by the time it's released, but Debbie Reynolds was also rushed to the hospital this evening on the 28th of December, which it might be just simply exhaustion, because apparently she did not leave Carrie Fisher's side the entire time she was at the hospital.
I heard it was a stroke.
Oh, it was a stroke? Okay.
That's what I heard anyway.
I didn't. I just saw like the headline.
Yeah,
so.
I saw it like right before I came over here, so don't quote me on that, but that's the last thing I read.
Okay, so maybe not. Which stroke kind of makes sense. Like all that stress on a woman that old. That makes sense. I mean, it's pretty consistent if you look at the stats that most of the time, if an elderly parent buries a child, they don't usually last much longer after that child. So, very sad. It's very, very sad. Jules, would you be interested in sharing what you wrote on Facebook? Because not all the listeners.
Yeah.
Because I would like to share what I wrote on Facebook as well.
Yeah.
Because I'm very proud of it.
I'm actually really proud of mine too. I also made I made like vent art for her because like I just had to, and like. Usually, like, the last time I drew anything in that kind of style, it took me, like, 5 hours. And I pulled that out in, like, an hour because I was just, like, aggressively, like, Space Mom!
It's really good, too.
Mom!
I like it a lot.
Thank you. Or, as I'm also referring to her more and more often now, bipolar sister, because she had one interview talking about, like, mental illness, and she made the like, you know, like, addressing, like, other people with it, and she made the comment, as your bipolar sister, I'll be watching.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm now just like, bipolar sister is still watching. I love her. I will miss her. I'm finding it. Okay, I found it. Carrie Fisher was more than just Princess Leia. I grew up with her through Star Wars, but I was also very young when I learned who she was as a real person, and she has always been one of my heroes. As someone who is severely mentally ill, particularly as someone who is bipolar and has struggled with substance abuse, she has always significantly resonated with me. She was so unapologetic about who she was and what she dealt with, and it was incredible having a celebrity figure I could see myself in like that. Her brazen attitude and sense of humor was such an inspiration, and I am feeling this loss hard. I may not ever have met her, I may not have known her personally, but I'm so grateful that she was there, and I honestly don't feel out of line in saying that I genuinely loved her in my own way, and I know there are a lot of other people like me who feel the same. R.I.P. Carrie Fisher, the world is a much better place for having had you in it.
Well said. And then I'm gonna share mine also. This is the sappiest episode of Sinister DreamCast ever. So
I mean, it kind of has to be.
Right?
yeah. So this is what I wrote. She meant so much to so many people. She was the badass chick who took control in desperate situations on the big screen, honestly establishing the modern feminist archetype in cinema. She was a wonderfully unique writer with a point of view unheard of at the time of her first writings, and she was an unapologetic voice for women everywhere, using her razor-sharp wit to comfort those who were being put down. This is not only a great loss for Star Wars fans, it is a great loss for the world. There will truly never be another Carrie Fisher. Rest in peace, Carrie. I thought, though I never met you, you helped me through a lot of bad times. May the Force be with you always.
Yeah, like it's like I remember like the Diane Sawyer interview she did like forever ago that she's like has since references being like why the fuck did I do that kind of thing. But like, you know, she talks about it very in depth and like makes like the grand announcement of I am mentally ill. And like I remember watching that and being like, oh my god. Oh my god, Princess Leia and I have so much in common. Mm-hmm. I feel so validated right now.
Honestly, I think that has to do with just the way that she approached it. No, because she's an actor, so I think she was just looking at the way she was in that, and she's just like, I look like such an asshole. Like, I think that's more or less what she was thinking.
But like, however, like 13 or whatever year old me who saw that was who'd grown up with Star Wars and already really loved Princess Leia, then saw that and went, oh my god, I really love Carrie Fisher, and like she's been a hero of mine ever since that point.
Yeah, Kevin Smith said that, you know, like whenever she was on Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, you know, like he told her like, you know, you were my first crush and everything, and like the way that she responded is, well, I'm glad that I was able to help you find your lightsaber.
Oh my god, she was such a gift.
Yeah. I mean, because she got that a lot. Like, there are there's like probably at least at this point 3 to 4 generations of like men and women who had like, you know, awakenings because of her. You know what I mean? Like realized like, oh, I'm into girls. Mm-hmm. Like there's an entire there are more than one generation of people that she's the reason why they know that they're into girls. Mm. And maybe there's a couple generation of boys going, oh, I'm not into girls because of that.
Right? Everyone else going, did you see that outfit? And they're like, yeah, it's cute, whatever.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's like, oh, if I'm not attracted to that, then.
Right.
Honestly, like, not even trying to be snarky, like, her in that, like, in the Jabba prisoner outfit, yeah. Yeah, if you don't find that attractive, you probably are not into women. Like, if it doesn't do anything for you, you're just probably not into women. Like, not being trying to be funny, not trying to be snarky, just, like, it's a good litmus test.
Yeah, that probably should have been a red flag when I was a kid.
Well, red flag makes it sound like it's a bad thing.
Okay, but you know what I mean, though. Like,
indicator.
Yeah. Although I would like to say that can we please stop sharing like the bikini pictures like with the memorial posts, because she was not a fan of how fetishized that was. Now if you're showing her in the bikini strangling Jabba,
yes, that's
the exception, because perfection there. But like if you're just showing like a sexy Leia in the bikini thing, like don't post that with the in memoriams, because she was not a fan of that.
Well, I did see one Kat Dennings on Instagram posted that photo shoot she did for Jedi.
Oh, like in the water?
In the water, and I'm like, that one's appropriate because that's her being silly.
Also, that's appropriate because of what she wanted her obituary to be. I feel like anything involving her being in water, even though like just because of the wording, even though she never actually says water.
I didn't.
Oh, it's great.
drowning in moonlight, strangled by her own bra. That's Carrie Fisher's official cause of death, as requested by Carrie Fisher. Mm-hmm. And it was in response to the "there's no underwear in space" thing. So, like, even though she's drowning in moonlight and not in water, I feel like the wording still makes it appropriate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I made a collage. I made a collage with the post that I made. And you can see it on my Instagram. And I made sure I did not pick the Java prisoner pictures. I picked two of her young, one of which being Leia, and then two when she was older, one of which her being Leia. So
yeah, when I did when I got home from work yesterday and was like, I have to draw Carrie Fisher. Like, this just has to happen. Like, I was immediately like, I just Googled pictures of her to like use for reference, and it was just like I the vast assortment in front of me, and I was like, you know what, I'm only gonna draw one right now because this is basically just going to be me venting, and I'm probably not going to have the spoons or the time for any more, at least right now. I refuse to draw a picture of her young.
Whenever you draw a picture of her young, you should do this one. Of her Leia.
The one that's in the that's in the textbook.
I think that's actually I think that's my favorite picture of her. Is that one? That was the reason why. Whenever I was making the collage, I specifically sought that one out because I wanted that one to be part of the collage.
Yeah, fun fact, that picture is in a mental health, like, psychology textbook.
As she said, I'm not crazy, that bitch is crazy.
She was such a gift.
Yeah, if also highly recommend, if you have HBO Now or HBO go down to the documentaries tab, scroll all the way over down to W, and click play on Wishful Drinking. It's her one woman show that she did.
Also, like, the title of it, like, that's so Carrie Fisher.
Well, it's based on that's her first biography.
I know, but still, the title of it's still so Carrie Fisher. Yeah,
title is perfect.
Yeah, I still need to read that, and then I also really need to read The Princess Diarist.
Yeah,
like we actually were at Barnes and Noble not too long ago, and like I picked it up because I saw it there, and like I read just like the first page and was immediately like, I need to own this book.
Yeah, the opening is for George Lucas, Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, J.J. Abrams, and Rian Johnson, which I feel like Rian Johnson's probably like, oh my god.
Also, did you guys see the tweet from her dog's Twitter account?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, they're
please do. I'd like some more pain. Thank you.
Oh no, it's super painful.
It's Gary, like, sitting up at a window. Gary was her service dog, by the way, and she was also totally unapologetic about bringing him everywhere. That's just like, when is mommy coming home? Jesus. Apparently, Gary has found a good home. Like, he has been rehomed, and he's in a good place now.
Well, that was quick.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, though, there was probably a huge demand.
I know I saw a lot of people, like, really freaking out about Gary.
Yeah, like, there was also, like, an instant, like, what's gonna happen to Gary? Is Gary gonna be okay?
Is Gary all right now? Where is Gary?
Yeah, so I'm sure it was probably just a combination of, like, so we need to do something with Carrie Fisher's dog, and then a bunch of people being like, I will happily take Carrie Fisher's dog.
Right? I will feed him whole hams. It's fine. Like,
I wonder why Billy didn't take him.
Yeah, I don't know what who the good home is. Like, I just saw the headlines, but I haven't clicked on it.
I mean, she has one full brother and then two half sisters, and then she also has Billy, and she still had a good relationship with her ex-husband Billy Lord's father, because he left her because he was gay. Yeah, which is her superpower according to Wishful Drinking, is turning men gay.
Well, that would also approve the litmus test then.
Yeah.
Well, apparently he turned gay because she
started taking codeine again.
Yeah.
Also made him bald. You really just need to watch Wishful Drinking.
Which is apparently also a superpower of hers.
Yeah.
Nice.
But I highly recommend it. I wanna read the Princess Diarist. It looks like it's something I'll be able to read, just because it's not super long.
One of my mutuals on Tumblr said that like they went to pick up a copy of it
It's gone.
and they were like, there was one copy left. I'm so glad that I went when I did, because I guess there were more before, but I mean, I guess now everybody is like, so I'm buying that.
I wanted to buy it before it was cool.
Yeah, I mean, so did I.
I just
but
didn't
now
have
it's gonna
the
be
money.
Hard to find.
Yeah, I just didn't have the money
same.
at the time.
Yeah, because I mean, like I've very well established by now, I have loved Carrie Fisher on multiple levels for a very long time now. I was absolutely going to read that book. Just like as soon as you informed me that wishful drinking so much as existed, I was like, I need to consume this.
What, the show or the book?
Show.
Oh,
Because
okay.
I knew about the show first, because you were like, oh, hey, look what's here.
Yeah, but it also triggered you the first time.
Yeah, the first time was very hard to watch. Because she does speak so candidly, and because I am also bipolar and have also struggled with substance abuse. So it's like, the first time I watched it, it was just like, ow. Ow. Yeah. But then we rewatched it yesterday, and I think, like, after the one viewing now, it's okay, because it's all funny to me now. And it's also, like, I even kind of feel, too, though, like, maybe it was also just partially because, like, now I feel more, like, I mean, because it's been a few years now that I've started speaking more openly about my stuff in general. Like, I've stopped being like, oh, yes, and now I have to just end this story here because it gets awkward, or, like, why did this happen? I have to make up some reason because the answer is related to mental illness in some way. Like, I'm just kind of like, no, I don't give a fuck. This, and this. But I almost feel like now it's like I need to keep doing that. And I need to make fun of myself more for it. So I wonder if it was even funnier watching it after that news, because it's like, now I want to live more like her in general.
Right. I've seen a lot of people responding with that, where they're like, our icons are dead, so we need to, move their message forward in the future and, like, take what they taught us and, like, live it.
Yeah, I also, I shared one post on Facebook from my friend Celine, and they made the very good point that, that perhaps the reason so many of 2016's deaths have, like, hit everybody the way that they have is that so many of these icons were people who spoke out for marginalized groups and, like, gave us voices we didn't previously have. And so now that those icons have left us, it's our duty as those marginalized groups to just keep going with what they gave us.
Sure. Yeah.
But I think my favorite one I've seen thus far, to honor Carrie Fisher, is normalize mental illness, take life a little less seriously, and overthrow an oppressive regime.
Right. I need that on, like, a shirt and, like, a tattoo.
Yeah. Big fan of that one.
Also, I looked it up. All of the books that you just referenced are on Audible and are narrated by Carrie Fisher.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, that was the reason why I was thinking about, like, downloading. Well, I still have to finish Harry Potter because I have 2 more books left on Harry Potter. So I gotta. It seems weird for me to divert right now. Actually, I even tried to divert because they had, like, they had a Black Friday sale, so I was able to get Neverwhere for, like, $4, and I can't finish it. Like, I'm just like, I need to finish Harry Potter first. So, I have to wait for my credits for that one. But, because they're ridiculous. I've now gotten to the point, I think, if I didn't use my credit, Order of the Phoenix is like $43.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's fucking expensive. It gets real expensive, and I'm pretty sure Deathly Hallows, I think, is $40, and Half-Blood Prince is like $35.
Wow.
Yeah, they're real expensive, so I can't know. Especially because Sorcerer's Stone is, I think, $10.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yikes. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if I want to listen to Princess Diarist or if I want to read it. You know? But I have to wait, like I said.
I definitely want to own the book. Like, I can't. I do have a hard time with audiobooks. Like, my attention span just doesn't work that way. But I almost wonder if the fact that, like, she actually reads it, if that will keep me.
Yeah, so far the only audiobooks aside from kind of like dramatic readings where like people do different voices and things like that, that I've enjoyed are autobiographies by the person whose life it is, because it just kind of adds some authenticity, and I think like even just like the inflection of their voice, it just makes it a better story.
Yeah, because it's like they're talking and it's them, like, so it just like it just feels like they're telling you a story, not reading from a book.
It seems more like a solo podcast for me.
Yeah. I mean, and I also have trouble with those, but I guess it's like, yeah, I have trouble with podcasts too. I know, giant hypocrite. Hello. But again, this is because like my attention span doesn't work that way. But like, it's still like somebody that like you're really, really interested in, just talking about the things that makes you interested in them.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I did also want to talk about, because we talked about this before we started recording, but there's an article going around that 2016 isn't killing, which no shit, we know that 2016 is not sentient and killing. It's just.
Do we though?
No. Let's use logic here, kids.
I actually.
But they were saying about it's substance abuse that is killing them, which really annoys me, and I want to bring it up because I haven't read the article. But the fact that, well, Joel said that it's condescending as fuck.
I couldn't even get past the first paragraph. Like, I tried to look at it just because I kept seeing it being shared over and over again, and I'm just like, wow, it's just, fuck you.
And, also the fact that the vast majority of the deaths this year were not substance related. Actually, the only ones that were substance related were, surprisingly not Bowie, which I think that says something about him. With the amount of cocaine that man did in the 70s, that he did not die of like heart failure is pretty impressive. But the only ones that were substance related were Prince, George Michael, and Carrie Fisher. And out of those three, two of them were sober at the time. It was just that they both did massive amounts of cocaine, and that just kind of lingers. Prince was the only one who was still abusing substances, and not in the traditional manner that we think of substance abuse either.
Right.
Like, it was painkillers because he was too much of a performer. It's really what killed him, because he kept jumping off of the stage in high heels and it fucked up his hips. And so he kept taking painkillers. But Jules brought something up where you're going to... Jules?
Oh, I think the moment has actually passed, but I guess now I have to say it, like, because you know, like the whole cursed year thing, and it just reminded me of a Tumblr post I reblogged last night that made me laugh more than it should have, which was, you, an intellectual. There are good and bad things, including deaths, in each year. We can be sad for the bad things while still realizing and appreciating the good ones, and trying to make the best of the situation instead of giving up and blaming it on a supposedly cursed year. Me, a very tired fucker with scattered memory and vocabulary. Someone please delete 2016. That's, yep, that feel though.
I am thinking about going to like a craft store, or even just like Five Below, and getting like poster board, writing 2016 on it, and then lighting it on fire after midnight, like burning it in effigy. Like, I'm not trying to be. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm like trying to be symbolic and trying to like in a kind of like even in like a magic with a K kind of way, like cleanse the year.
Oh, I also
that does not sound like a bad idea.
Yeah, there was another one that I reblogged last night that made me laugh too, which was me walking backwards into 2017 with my eyes closed. I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me. I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me.
I think I reblogged that from your Tumblr because I was like, And also, my friends are now debating on whether we should stay in or go out for New Year's, and I'm like, I want to go out for New Year's because, like, if something's gonna go down, I'm gonna have to be there to face it. Like, if 2017 is like coming at me, ready to like punch me in the face, like I'm gonna meet it outside.
I don't think 2017 is gonna be aggressive like that. 2017 seems like it's just like, yeah, I'm here, guys. You know?
I just like, I don't want to be like negative and like put that out into the world that like it's fucked already. But at the same time, I'm kind of afraid to be optimistic about 2017 because, like, any time that, any comment has been made about 2016 wherein, it can't get any worse. We still got all this time left, it could turn around. 2016 has gone challenge accepted.
Right.
Update, Debbie Reynolds has died.
Good. Freaking God, what is that?
In real time, everybody.
I mean,
see, we mentioned it and look what it did.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not surprised. Basically, as soon as I saw that she had been taken to the hospital, it was just kind of like she's gonna go see Carrie again.
Now I feel really bad for Carrie Fisher's daughter. Like, really,
Yeah, she loses her
really
mother and
bad.
her grandmother
Within a day of each other, yeah.
That entire family must be like, fuck.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And right around the holidays, too. I don't know if they're religious or not. I know she was Jewish. I don't know.
She was half Jewish.
Half Jewish.
Yeah, she's... It sounds like she was Jewish in the same way that I am Jewish, and that, like... It came from her father's side, but, like, she wasn't raised with it.
Well, Pa Simon referred to, in one of the songs, it was one half Jews, and the half Jew is her.
Yeah, she's like, in wishful drinking, she's like, I wonder who that was. Like, I also like when there was one line in a song about her about, like, what was it, like, just arguing about who had it worse.
Yeah,
and then she's just like, shouts like, I wonder who won that argument.
Guess who won that one? Or also, like the other line, which is like, I stare into her cold coffee eyes, and she just pauses, and she's like, I'm a bitch.
Yeah. Hey, Billy. Like, do you need a hug? Because I will offer you hugs.
Literally, whatever she wants, we should give her because she deserves some things.
But what I was saying about 2017 is that honestly, I'm not being overly optimistic. I'm just kind of thinking at it from a practical sense. 2016 was so bad that I feel like more than any other year, that changing over to midnight is going to be a placebo effect for a lot of people.
Gotcha.
I think more than any other year, I think people are going to try to cognitively... It might be one of those things that, like, we may not all admit until, like, June if it's a shitty year.
Right.
Like, no, it's cool,
we're
guys.
powering through because we're out of 2016.
Yeah. It's like, like the guy or the girl who's in denial about their parent, like their significant other cheating on them. Like, no, it's fine. Like Chris Titus said in Love Is Evil, it's like, no, she's fine. If she just would stop sleeping with my father and my sister, it would be great. Like that kind of thing. That might happen. But I do feel like that everyone as a collective whole is going to try to use it as an opportunity for placebo effect to try to be like, okay.
See, I feel like people are going to want to do that, and then the inauguration's going to happen, and people are just going to throw up their hip hands and be like, oh, right, we're fucked.
Well, I'll already be there with a sign marching around, so I'll already be angry at that point. Angrier? Angriest? I don't know. We'll see.
But yeah, so real time, everybody.
Jesus God.
And 2016 took another one.
God, ridiculous. I mean,
It's not terribly surprising.
No.
You can't expect someone who's 84 years old to be able to survive that shit. Yeah, that was like, wow.
But the next day, though, like...
Yeah.
right?
Whew.
Well, Debbie Reynolds was pretty awesome too, everybody. In case you're not familiar with her, she was pretty awesome. If you've ever seen, I know Jules has, because I've showed it to her. But if you haven't seen Sing in the Rain, I highly recommend watching her and Singing in the Rain. She's pretty fantastic in it.
Yeah, I actually kind of suspect I'm going to get a text from my mom, because I'm pretty sure my mom really liked Debbie Reynolds. And then I'll just be like, yeah, I know, her daughter died too!
Hello, darling. It's your mother, Debbie. Apparently, that's how she answers the phone every single time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Carrie Fisher said that, like, even like at that point, Carrie Fisher was like 55 years old, and to that day, she was still like, that's how she'd answer the phone. And apparently, like, at the time of wishful drinking, she lived, like, next door to her. And it was like, my mother lives next door to me, and someone laughed, and she's like, that's not funny.
Yeah, there were also a lot of interjections with, and my mother wants me to tell you.
Aww.
Yeah, whenever it was, like, the mental illness part, she's like, my mother would like to let you guys know that all of this mental illness stuff, that's all from my father's side. Yeah.
It's just, like, I can't think of any other, like, you know, celebrity, any other person out there that, like, I've never met, never interacted with in my entire life that, like, I felt so much love for. Like, just such, like, a genuine, like, I feel like she would protect me. Like, I feel like she's been there for me, and I feel like if she knew me, like, it would be even more so. Like, I felt, like, such, like, a genuine affection for her that, like, normally only comes with actually knowing someone on a personal level. But, like, she was so open with herself that, like, I still kind of feel like I did.
It's understandable. I mean, it makes sense. She was... I can't think of another. Probably there wasn't another one. She was the first celebrity to, like, talk about her mental illness.
Obi-Wan, whoever the fuck you are, let us down.
Thanks. My feels were like kind of like normalizing.
I also love that everybody's like us putting those screen caps, or the help me Obi-Wan, whoever the fuck you are, you're my only hoe screen caps are going around again. Like, she was...
Yeah, whenever, yesterday at work, we were talking about it, and there's one kid who's, like, a little bit younger. It seems like a little bit younger, but knows everything. That kind of kid. And we were talking about Carrie Fisher, and he's like, who? And I'm like,
Oh.
Carrie Fisher. He's like, I don't know who that is. Princess Leia? I don't watch TV. I'm like, well, that's good because she was in movies. So, and then the other kid, whenever we were kind of giving him shit, he's like, well, I don't know who played Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm like, Alec Guinness. Like, immediately, just like, he's just like, oh, okay.
But even still, like, then you would think that it's like, if you didn't know her name, you would go Princess Leia, and they'd go, oh.
Yeah, that same thing happened. Well, that happened with the UPS guy, because he came in and he was just like, "Hey, you got anything?" And he's like, "Are you doing okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a little bummed." And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man." It was, it's like, I'd give you a hug if it wasn't for this conveyor in the way. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just a little bummed because Carrie Fisher died." He's like, "Who is that?" And he's like, "Who's that?" I'm like, "Princess Leia." He's like, "Oh, I heard about that." So, yeah, it's fucked up. It's fucked up. She was the last person you thought we were gonna lose this year. You know what I mean? Like, everyone, you know, we were talking about, like, everyone thinks Betty White, or, you know, but, like, not Carrie Fisher.
No.
I mean, she was only 60.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, there's also been, like, a few this year that it's just, like, they were too young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, yeah, the fact that, like, George Michael died in his early 50s on Christmas Day, which is the most 2016 thing to happen this year, was George Michael dying on Christmas.
The guy who wrote "Wake Me Up Before You Go Go"
and Last Christmas.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And then 2 days later, Carrie Fisher dies at 60.
Whenever we were told that she was stable.
Yeah, so again,
Which is...
that one just was such an extra punch, because it's like that, like, we got stabbed with everybody else, and with that one, we just got run through and it got twisted all to hell.
And then Anton Chekhov, that's how you pronounce his name.
Yelchin.
Fucking dies in, like, a freak accident.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was younger than us, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I feel like I said the exact same thing on Scenario Store, but...
Right.
But it's still, like... But then you still stop and think about that. Like, he was younger than us, and he was still another casualty of 2016.
In, like, a Final Destination kind of way.
Yeah. That was really creepy. Like... No, that's like on one of those, like, 100 Ways to Die. Like,
And then even, like, with, like, Bowie and Rickman, because they were both 69, right?
Yeah. Bowie just turned 69, and Rickman was just about to turn 70.
It's like, that's, okay, like, people die at 69, yeah, but then, like, you still don't think about it because, like, because, like, Betty White and Stan Lee are still kicking, and they're old as fuck. Like, they are actually genuinely old. Like, 69 is still, like, it's not, like, young, but it still seems young to die.
Both of cancer.
Yeah. I mean, that's true, but it's still, like, I just feel like it's, like, 69 is still young to die, and especially because, like, we didn't really know what was going on with Bowie because they were intentionally keeping it under wraps.
But I mean, to be fair, once you saw any promotion for Black Star, you're like, ooh. But I mean, also, I think there was a point where he was doing a little bit better because he was talking about going back on the road.
Wow.
For like a little bit, like it was like mentioned in like a news blurb, and then you never heard about it again.
Well, I guess he's also gonna have a posthumous album.
Yeah,
He had enough stuff recorded already.
I think he actually did that, like, because Black Star is very much like, I know I'm going to die, and this is how I want to go out. I think this album that they're talking about, he's like, now release this a year after my death, like that kind of thing.
And Black Star is a really, really good album. It's really, really good. Like,
I know a lot of people can't listen to it though.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard, but it's a fantastic album. Like, it's honestly, like, and I've said this about Bowie before too, that like every era, like every decade that Bowie did music in was so perfect for Bowie doing music in that decade. Like, I mean, like 70s Bowie is where kind of Bowie found Bowie. Like, that's like the pinnacle David Bowie. But like 80s Bowie sounds like that guy doing music in the 80s. Like, it's not just straight up like this sounds like 80s. But it sounds like David Bowie making music in the 80s. The same thing could be said for the 90s. Like, everything was perfect, and that was the perfect, like, this is David Bowie making music in 2015-16. But, like, it also, like, transcends it at the same time. Like, because it's just so, like, ethereal. Like, just the music itself, like, it's very, very low-key but immersive.
Black Star?
Yeah, like,
Okay.
the whole album.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, like, even just some, like, it is really hard to listen to, like, especially, like, when you know that, like, he recorded this while he was dying, because it's, like, the song Black Star is really intense. There's, you know, Lazarus. Even, like, I Can't Give Everything Away is, like, a punch to the feels. Oh.
I find Black Star to be the creepier one, the creepiest song, though.
It is, but it's so good.
Yeah, I'm not
I
saying it
really
isn't.
love that song.
I'm trying to have a conversation about
That's fair. Although I still have not been able to bring myself to watch the Black Star or Lazarus videos.
If you do, watch Black Star first.
Because, yeah, I've heard pretty universally that, like, Lazarus was, like, unequivocally his... Like, the video for Lazarus was just straight up, this was his goodbye.
He was wearing a suit specifically tailored for astral projection.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But yeah, I still need to do it, but I haven't, like, it's been almost a year, and I still haven't been able to bring myself to watch those videos.
Black Star is so saturated with symbolism, it's, like, disgusting. Like, it's insane how much symbolism's in it. And same thing with Lazarus is a little bit more straightforward, but there's a lot of symbolism in it, too. Yeah, Lazarus, I feel like if you're if you've been a long-time Bowie fan, you're going to pick up on a lot more stuff than if you aren't in Lazarus. There's certain stuff that, like, in Black Star, you're just like, oh, yeah, like, Major Tom's, like, referenced in it. Like, there's imagery of Major Tom in the Black Star video. So. Rickman. And Alan Rickman. I just listened to, like, a couple weeks ago, I listened to the Hollywood Babylon episode where because they do a segment called Tinseltown Stiffs. And, that, you know, the people who have recently passed. So, like, to give them, like, their one last ta-da and bring people, you know, because Ralph Garman's a big fan of character actors. So if character actors die, he brings them to everyone's attention and whatnot. Like, a very common thing is you don't know the name, but you would know him to see him, sort of thing. And they did with Rickman. You know, Kevin Smith was friends with Rickman, and they go into, like, a 15-20 minute, like, talk about Alan Rickman, which is pretty sad. I mean, this is also going to be next week too, because next week is the 2016 wrap-up episode. That will be
we just got that out of the way. We just this was scenario stories.
I was actually thinking about doing it this week, and then Carrie Fisher died.
Yeah,
gotcha.
That is pretty much what happened.
Yeah, we felt kind of terrible yesterday because it was like I hadn't even cut together the podcast yet, and like if you didn't listen to this week's Scenario Store News, we did talk a fair amount about Carrie Fisher beat 2016. Like, she's the one that it didn't get. We're very, very happy about this. Like, we lost a lot, but at least we didn't lose her.
Right.
And then the next day we lost her.
Right.
Way to go, guys.
Right.
I mean, I did put something in the description of the episode about it. Like, I made a note about, like, at the time of recording, we thought she was going to pull through. So, like, a special dedication to Carrie Fisher. We love you, you know.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, it seems very surreal. Like, I'll see the headlines of her, like, Carrie Fisher dead at 60, and I feel like I'm in an alternate universe, like a movie where it's like, Carrie Fisher dies at 60. You're like, that's no.
Yeah. Like, I still expect it to be a lie. Like, I still expect somebody to be like, what? She didn't die.
I saw another post, too, that it's like, Carrie Fisher went out exactly like she would have wanted to, right after breaking to the world that she fucked Harrison Ford in his prime.
Yeah.
I saw another Tumblr post that I enjoyed way too much, which was a take on the forcibly removed from the premises meme, except that there was no forcible removal at any point in it, which was just, Carrie Fisher arrives in heaven, Harrison Ford fucked, emojis tweeted, middle finger up. It's like, seems legit.
She actually, recently, she just gave an interview saying that she should have went after Mark Hamill, she said.
I also, though, love it's like that, Harrison Ford couldn't see, she had feelings for him, sometimes 5, but sometimes as many as 7.
Yeah.
It's also funny in wishful drinking, she makes a comment of, like, that hurt all 7 of my feelings, and then later on, her feelings, like whenever she was, like, talking about, people, like, giving, like, once she kind of, like, went back to the surface because of episode 7, and people were commenting more on how the fact that, she just aged like a human does. And, she started talking again about, like, I didn't realize that I was signing an invisible contract to stay pretty for the rest of my life. And then it was, these comments have hurt all 3 of my feelings. So...
And she said I was hot when most people were hot.
Yeah. Yeah, she made, it was just like, beauty and youth are fleeting. Like, you want to just hold your breath for that one. Yeah, like...
Yeah, my only thing with her was how deep her voice got. That was the only thing, but that was also because I think she was a 30-year smoker. I think smoking is the reason why, one of the things that helped her stop cocaine. So...
That's legit.
Yeah. So she smoked for a very long time. So that is going to deepen your voice.
Right.
And I'm sure she probably smoked a lot for a very long period of time. It probably wasn't until, like, more recently, if she cut back, if she was still smoking, she probably cut back a little bit. Just because she probably doesn't, she's probably far enough away from it at that point. But, it's slightly better than alcohol, because alcohol can spiral out of control pretty quickly, too. You okay, Jules?
Yeah, no, smoking is definitely a very good tool for this is all I have left. Not saying that from experience or anything.
Yeah, yeah, you are. I can tell by your tone.
No, I 5,000% am, because of all the shit that it's compensating for, it's the most socially acceptable, so...
I mean, alcohol is socially acceptable, but it's just, like I said, it's a little too easy to let that one spin out of control.
Okay, habitually smoking is the most socially acceptable.
Right, I was going to say breakfast alcohol is not socially acceptable unless you're at brunch.
Yeah, but then, breakfast alcohol every day with no other food.
Right.
But brunch is also, like, noonish usually, so that's...
True. It's closer to 5-ish.
Yeah.
8 a.m.
I thought it was...
Non-mimosa.
Yeah. Well, there's someone that I work with who's usually drunk before he gets to work. And, like, you can smell him about 15 feet away.
Yeah.
That's how much he drinks. He definitely brings a flask to work, and he's definitely like he's recharging that battery throughout the day. So alcohol is a hell of a drug. It is. I mean, it's one of those. It's one of those drugs that like most people, like weed. A lot of people can like handle that shit, and it's fine. But
for those who can't,
yeah, yeah, that's the reason why I'm really uncomfortable when people are like, "Weed's not a gateway drug." I'm like, for the vast majority of people, it isn't. But let's not say it isn't, because you could probably nip that in the butt if someone's like, you know, smokes a lot of weed and then they're like, I need something stronger. That's a red flag right there. It's a red flag. You might want to...
Well, I mean, I understand what they're doing with that, though, because it is, like, just treated, like, universally as a gateway drug, and so, like, we have to treat this as way more dangerous than it actually is because of the chance that it could lead to something else more dangerous. But...
Right, what I'm saying is we shouldn't go in the exact opposite direction. I think it should be treated like alcohol, where it's like, yeah, this can be a gateway drug. Like, I mean, it can be, let's acknowledge the fact that it can be, for the vast majority of people, they can use it responsibly, it's fine, but it's one of those things that, like, hey, if you are smoking weed and then you feel the need for something harder, maybe you should check into something.
Gotcha. I mean, that's fair, but I think that's, like, aside from, like, those, like, everybody should smoke weed. Weed is awesome. I'm wearing like a giant weed flag as a cloak and have like a leaf tattooed on my forehead. You have no excuse for not smoking weed, people. Like, I think that's what most people want. I think that's all most people want.
I'm just picturing somebody with a weed leaf tattooed on their forehead now.
I mean, it's like the we get it. You smoke weed, people.
Shut up.
Do you like maple syrup? What's up with that? Are you from Canada?
That's what you need to do.
Yeah.
That's all I would be able to do.
Yeah.
Like, hey?
Yeah, those people are like, it's like, no, dude, I support like being legal and all that. Like,
You're the reason why it's not legal everywhere yet.
yeah,
It's people like you.
You're making yourself look real bad. You're making your drug look real bad. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
Day?
David Cross talks about that in some of his older stand-up. He's like, I don't really like the culture of weed. It's like, I enjoy smoking weed, but I don't really like high times.
Yeah, you know what? I think that is the difference. There's people who smoke weed, and then there's people who make it a culture.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a big thing in California. Joe and Gene were telling me about it. They said it's fairly obnoxious.
Yeah, like it's like I have a lot of friends who are stoners, and you don't know it,
Right.
but that's fine. What they do in their private time is fine. Like, occasionally it might come up casually in conversation, as things do, but like then you know other people who are stoners, and it's like you know this within 5 seconds of meeting them.
Right.
My favorite, whenever people talk about weed, is like, weed's the best drug because it's natural. I'm like, yeah, so is snake venom.
Yeah, that's not like. I mean, so
Just
is.
acknowledge it.
I mean, so's tobacco.
Yeah.
So is a lot. So are opiates.
Right? That's what I was just thinking. I was like, don't opiates come, like, from flowers? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, also, if you want to get technical, so is alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you just leave fruit alone, you create alcohol. So
yeah,
like,
that's fair.
yeah, you can't really. That's not an argument.
Yeah, it's like everything is made of chemicals.
Right.
Like everything is made of chemicals, so we need to like stop that argument. But like most things also stem from nature.
Right.
So
Have you ever seen animals drunk?
No.
It's hilarious. There's
I like have on YouTube.
you could probably look on YouTube because there's in Africa there are trees that they have fruit in them, and at if it gets to a certain temperature, the juice inside the fruit ferments. Well, the animals don't know the difference, so they'll eat the fruit and get fucking smashed, and it's hilarious.
Oh, so this is also good then, because you can like watch animals being assholes drunk without having to go, oh, but somebody got them drunk. That's like really abusive pet ownership.
Right.
Everybody wins.
My dad had a friend whose cat loved beer. Just like drinking beer. So whenever the friend would have parties, unsuspecting party guests would set down their glass of beer, turn around, cat in head, cat head in glass drinking beer, and eventually it would kind of stagger, but it would cut itself off at like a good level. Like it would just get like tipsy. So like it wasn't, like say like calling you in the middle of the night like drunk text drunk, but like it was like would not pass this field sobriety test drunk. So
Your dad would have a friend.
right. Basically he came home from a party once and was like, "You will not believe." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Drunk cats." I was like, "Go on." So yeah, that they didn't make the cat drunk, the cat just was gonna get drunk. Cat had priorities.
Hey, as long as no one's forcing the cat to do anything, it's the cat's choice, it's okay.
Yeah, like, because I have known people who would, like, get their pets drunk for funsies, and it's like, you're a bad person.
Yeah.
Like, shit can happen. Like, pets can get into things they're not supposed to get into, and then maybe you should have been more responsible about how they got into it. Like, maybe that's still on you, but at least you weren't actively.
Right, you were like, drink this.
And then it's like, oh, I need to learn from this.
Cats will do as they please.
It's like I had a neighbor who was a severe alcoholic. Her excuse was, "I'm not an alcoholic. I'm just a drunk." Like, okay, yeah. Like when she was lonely, she would invite me over with the promise of sharing her booze when I was like 15. She would get her dogs drunk for funsies. Which is then also like, this is probably what you do when I'm not here so you don't drink alone, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Though we shouldn't do it, I really want to know what Stella's like drunk.
I mean, yeah, we're totally not gonna do it, but I also really, really, like, I really wish there was just, like, a way to do it, like, safely just this one time, but, like, like, I don't even want to say, like, if she ever stumbles into it, because she is a cat, because I know that she is a cat, and that she totally will do that if any opportunity is presented. So I do actively try very hard.
She doesn't like alcohol, remember? Because I think I didn't give her,
right.
I just wanted to see how she reacted, and she smelled alcohol, and she's like, no.
Yeah, that's how Peanut is. Peanut, my one cat, will eat or drink anything that is presented in front of her. Like, she eats curry, she eats pasta sauce. She's insane. If you have a glass of wine, she sniffs it and just looks at you like, "You're disgusting," and walks away.
Although we do still all need to get that catnip wine and just have, like, a drinking with our cats party.
Right, so there you go. That's how we can see how our cats would be if they were drunk. We'll get them drunk on their own wine.
That's true. They do. I mean, like, it's catnip, so I'm sure it will just be like your cat on catnip, but they do make wine for cats. Yes.
Really, if you think about it, it is a responsible pet owner to do that. To see if the cat, like, because then, like, her father's friend's cat, it's good to know if the cat likes alcohol.
I guess that's true. Like, if they're just like, "Ooh, no, that's disgusting," it's like, okay, well, I don't have to, like, I should still, watch over it, because cats will get into things, but, like, at least I don't have to, like, be too, concerned about it. But, like, if the cat sniffs it and then, like, leans in further, it's like, I need to be vigilant.
Yeah, like, my dad's friend would tell party guests, "Do not leave your beer unattended. The cat will drink your beer." They were like, "Whatever, yeah, right. Cat drank your beer. Where'd my beer go?" Drunk cat. Like,
this is what you get.
and it only liked beer. It did not like alcohol, just beer.
That's weird, especially since cats are carnivores.
Right?
Although cats do like bitter, because that's all they can taste.
Oh. Mystery solved. Way to go, Julianna. Way to go.
My cat lady skills strike.
So how are you guys other than reeling?
Reeling.
Other than reeling. You're not allowed to answer with other than.
I'm really sad about Space Mom. I'm never gonna get to hug her, and I'm never gonna get to see David Bowie in concert, and this year sucks.
Okay, to be fair, the David Bowie thing has been dead for like 15 years. I don't think he's performed live like at all in the last 5 years.
Yeah, I am really kind of upset that I won't ever get to meet her, because I was like, who will they have at Comic-Con this year? Because, Civil War wasn't a thing. I was like, oh, maybe they'll have Star Wars people there. Now they still might, but maybe not the ones I want to meet.
No, they'll probably...
I feel like Mark Hamill would
Mark Hamill,
light,
Mark Hamill loves that shit. And she would have done it. Harrison Ford, you wouldn't want him. No. No, he's an ornery old man.
I don't think I would ever want to meet him just because I think it would break, like, the mystique that I have built around him. And I don't think I could handle that on, like, a deep spiritual level.
He also likes to fuck with people, but not in a way that, like, everyone's in on it. It's just in a way that he's in on it. Like, in interviews, he really likes to make people uncomfortable. Because Hardwick's talked about, because he was on the Nerdist, and like Hardwick talks about it all the time that he thinks Harrison Ford was the worst interview they had.
Yeah.
And like it wasn't not like how he was. It was just that like he couldn't stamp down his fanboy enough to be able to conduct the conversation, and like Harrison Ford, like a shark, smelled that. He smelled blood in the water, and he just kind of fucked with him. And if you listen back to it, it is like he's kind of ornery.
Yeah, I definitely don't think I would want to meet him for like the same reason. Like I just feel like I don't like it like I just don't. But like I would love to meet Mark Hamill. I would have loved to have met Carrie Fisher. I would even like I'd love to meet the new triad.
Oh, for sure.
Like they're all beautiful cinnamon rolls. So.
Right?
I think Daisy Ridley would be hard because she's very pretty. But I would really like to meet Oscar Isaac.
I mean, all three of them are very pretty.
I would be a giggly mess. I wouldn't be able to make the words. Nothing. I would love to meet them.
I want to try to get Oscar Isaac to dance like he did in Ex Machina.
Yeah,
I would die.
That'd be amazing. Well, I mean, he's supposed to be in 8 a lot more.
That's
Like Ryan Johnson
good.
had to do a rewrite of the 8 script because he started before 7 came out, and
when Poe wasn't really
when Poe was just like a character, and then they're like, Poe Dameron's really popular. We need to make him in the movie more, and Ryan Johnson's like, right on.
make him gay. Make him
Right?
gay.
Oh,
Make
just
him
please.
gay.
As
Make
bad as
him
2016 has been, they
Storm
better
Pilot will
they
save
damn well better.
2017.
It better. It has to.
Seriously,
It must.
at Ryan Johnson, please send help in the form of Storm Pilot.
I don't
Right.
think that's his Twitter handle.
I'm not sure it is either. I mean, I actually have literally tweeted that at him. So, like, this has been done. It's okay. It was never
has to be
acknowledged,
a
but I
thing.
did tweet at him about Storm Pilot.
Okay, I'm wrong. It is at Ryan Johnson.
All right, there you go.
Wow.
Ryan with an I, not a Y.
Well, I knew that. Yeah, we actually recently...
Not you. I was for the people out there.
Okay. We recently rewatched Looper, and it's just like, oh my god, this guy's doing episode 8.
And writing episode 9.
I can't wait. Like, I can't.
I
cannot.
know.
I have my
know.
mug. I can't even.
I firmly agree. Neither can I even. So
now we'll get all the Carrie Fisher Princess Leia feels because we're gonna die for that. But then if Storm Pilot is also a thing,
oh my god.
like I
Yeah,
can't prepare for this.
I feel like even if they don't touch on Carrie Fisher's death, like even if it is just straight like a Princess Leia as it would have been, everybody's going to be crying just because it's Carrie Fisher,
Right?
and
She's
it's
gonna come on
Carrie
the screen.
Fisher's last movie. Yeah, basically, like Carrie Fisher exists in this movie. Everybody in the theater sobbing.
And if you're not, I'm gonna stab you with a fork. I will make you cry. I will not be the only one ugly crying in that theater.
I doubt you will.
Good.
No, far from it.
Well, I'm actually kind of glad that we have a year before episode 8 because it's going to be sad. But if she died the year that it was a saga year, it would be more like a sad thing. Whereas a year removed, it's going to be more of a celebration of her as opposed to like, oh, she died.
Feels out for Space Mom.
Yeah, I prefer Space Twin.
I mean, I feel like that only works when Mark Hamill says it. I love that he said it, but although I still also like, I'm very attached to Bipolar Sister now, but she is my bipolar sister, and I love her, and I miss her.
Yeah, I mean, did you see what Mark Hamill, like the first thing he wrote?
No.
I think he said. I think it was. Oh, it was one of the promotional pictures for episode 4, and it was just like them like shoulder to shoulder, like like him like holding her, and he just wrote with the picture, and he just wrote #devastated.
No.
That was it. Oh, and I think it was #devastated at Carrie Fisher.
No.
Yeah. And then like later in the day, he wrote something for her.
Which is also like he had to respond to it immediately, but like he then had to collect his thoughts to write a proper response. Like he had to take the time because
the impression that I got was they were always fairly close. Like at least Mark and Carrie were fairly close, but as time went on and Star Wars was less and less of a thing, it was a thing, but like they didn't see each other as much, so they kind of separated.
Life just happened.
Life just happened, and then I think the impression that I got, episode 7 brought them back together, and they became real close again. So that's the impression that I got, and I'm going to, because Mark is in episode. We know Mark is in episode 8 way more than he is in 7, and so is Carrie. Which is honestly smart when you think about it. If you think about it like looking at it, it makes sense that Carrie and Mark were not in 7 as much because though Mark's been acting a lot more than Carrie, still it's been 30 years since either of them really played that character. So,
and even though like voice actors like I've noticed there is a thing that, like, voice actors don't do real acting, which is total bullshit. Like, if you've ever watched videos of a voice actor acting, like, they're totally acting this out as much as they would be if they were in front of a camera. But, like, he's also mostly been doing voice acting and not in front of a camera.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, also with voice acting, there's, like, a difference, because, like, he can do things voice acting to get to where he needs to be that he can't do when he does on-screen acting. Like, if you've ever seen him perform the Joker, and I say perform the Joker, he's very over the top to get the voice the way that he needs to get the voice. He wouldn't be able to do it that way in IRL, you know?
Yeah.
So, but, yeah. It's sad. It's very, very sad.
All of it. Horribly sad.
Yeah, honestly, if I wasn't at work, I think I would have probably broke down.
Yeah, I was trying so hard not to cry, and I was not succeeding. Like, I wasn't, like, crying, but, like, I'm sure if anybody would have looked at me, they would have been like, oh, what's wrong? And, like, I could feel the tears in my eyes. And then at one point, it was just like, gotta go to the bathroom. All I'm gonna do down there is cry. But, like, I just need this break. I need to cry, or I'm just gonna burst into tears at my desk, and I'd really rather not do that.
I just noped out and went to bed. Like, literally, like, we signed, like, the sale of the house, the realtor left, I went and looked at my phone, got your fuck nose, and then I was like, fuck no, I'm going to bed. This world cannot be handled right now. Good night.
Yeah. And we were just talking about this, like, Monday night, where we were just like, oh yeah, she's gonna be fine.
Right?
She's gonna be fine, everyone. Yeah, I mean, I kind of figured, like, I remember even saying, like, oh, the fact that, like, she had a heart attack on the plane, and, like, she still made it to the hospital alive. I'm like, oh, that's a good sign. Apparently not.
Yeah, we were so optimistic about that, and then 2016 said, challenge accepted. So
I don't think we were that optimistic. I think we were just like, good. Like, at least I know I was, where I was like, okay, she's stable, good. I'm not going to dwell on this. I'm not going to say, you know what, it was the people who came with the memes. It's their fault.
I dwelled on it, so.
No, I was like, oh, she's stable. She's Carrie Fisher. She'll never die.
Yeah.
I mean, and how often did just the two of us say she beat 2016,
right.
and then 2016 again went, oh, no, she didn't. So,
And
challenge accepted.
Honestly, it also seems like the Grim Reaper is like, just for good measure, I'm taking her fucking mother too, you little
Right?
asshole. Like, that's
Yeah,
what
it's
it
like, oh,
seems like.
you thought she got away? You thought she got away? No, not only did she not get away, but you know what? Yeah, this is a twofer. Fuck you.
Seriously, though.
If you don't watch it, I'll take the daughter too.
Right, put a bubble around her.
Yeah.
A bubble,
Yeah.
put in puppies if she likes puppies, like something nice.
Seriously, like, just, Gary, can you guard her?
Right?
Like,
Somebody needs to. An army.
yeah,
Just get an army of fans just around her, like, no harm will come to her.
yeah, basically, true story, though, just protect Billy Lord at all costs now, especially because she's hella young.
Right?
So, But 2016 doesn't discriminate.
Nope.
She's not hella
And it
young.
takes and it takes.
She's not hella young. She's 24.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's
I mean, that's
a baby.
hella young. But
That's not
I'm
hella
very
young.
old now.
No, she's still our generation because 1993 is relatively the cutoff point for millennial A's. So she's still a millennial A. But yeah,
yeah, that's true. Even the gauges that make it shorter usually still cut it off around 95.
Yeah.
So.
I cut it off at 93. I feel like 93 is the cutoff.
Well, I mean the millennial generation as a whole. Like they're because there's so much, like, you know, usually it would be like up until 2000.
Yeah.
But because there's such a cultural divide due to technology, they're like more and more you're seeing millennials, like the entire millennial generation cutoff being moved further into the the beginning of the 90s.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like I said, I cut it off at 93 because I feel like that's the cutoff. That there's similarities enough. Usually people who were born in 93 still remember analog technology. After 93, that's whenever, because like that's the big difference is like
Yeah.
how familiar
like,
are
is
you with
any analog technology?
how familiar are you with an analog technology? Fairly okay, then you're still part of the millennial generation.
Yeah. I feel like probably like my year is like the last year of people who can say they even remotely remember life before the internet.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I guess in 93 there would still be like you'd probably still at least have seen a VHS.
Yeah.
Cuz like, yeah, there are people who have not just have never used a VHS. What the fuck? Like there are people, they exist that they don't know what floppy disks are.
Right.
Like they've never used one, they don't know that they're real things, they've never seen one in real life.
Actual
And
film.
Same.
That always cracks me up where
Yeah.
they're like, what are those canisters? And you're like, what?
Oh god. Yeah, like I saw somebody like posted a picture of an old floppy disk on Tumblr, and they're like, "Oh, look what I found. I wonder what's on this." But like, you know, the technology to read it isn't really accessible anymore. So it was just kind of like, "Huh, a fossil in my house."
Right?
And somebody was like, "You 3D printed the save button?" Like, oh shit.
Actually, when you think about it, you probably should have adapters for floppies. You know what I mean? Like, not in the computer,
Yeah.
but it should be like something you can put the floppy in and then plug it USB.
And like buy
Yeah.
for reasonably cheap.
Yeah, so just so you know, in case there's important information on a floppy disk,
Right.
Yeah.
it's not lost forever.
Or like how they have stores where you can have your VHS go to DVD.
Yeah.
Same thing. Be like, put this floppy on something I can read.
Oh yeah, archiving is a huge. I won't get into it because Megan's not here, and I feel like she'd be sad if we didn't. But like, archiving is like a big thing now with digital because the format's changing so often, and there's no way to like actually archive things because you can't put it on a hard drive because hard drives, if they sit too long, don't work.
Yeah.
It's actually cheaper. It would actually be cheaper right now as we are speaking in the end of 2016 for everyone to take a digital copy of something, like a movie that was shot on digital, convert it to an exhibition print of film and store it that way as opposed to keeping it in a hard drive. Because with the hard drive, you, as the archivist, your job then is also going through them and running the hard drive.
Wow.
Because the hard drive will stop working if you don't, like a car, if you don't use the hard drive after a certain point, the hard drive stops working and it starts to tick also. So yeah, it's a real problem. Like, Megan could go into it way more than I could, but like, it's a real problem for archiving right now. It's a huge problem because they have no idea what they're gonna do. Like, even David Fincher's talked about it. His first music videos and commercials that he did, he has them, like, but he has nothing he can play them on because the
Wow.
format that they're on is dead. And that was the early 90s.
Weird.
Yeah. That's how quickly everything's moving.
Yeah, but it's just like that blows my mind every time I'm like reminded of the fact that there are people alive who are like sentient beings, like you could hold a conversation with them, that have never seen a VHS.
I mean, honestly, they're better off for it because it's a horrible fucking format.
Like that's just like even like floppy disks. It's like Like, I feel like that's still really weird to not know what it is.
Yeah.
To think that it's just a 3D print of the save icon. That does blow my mind. But, like, I can distance having not really used one a little bit better because technology with computers especially does move so quickly that, like, I don't feel like floppy disks for commercial use was really, like, that long.
Yeah.
But,
No,
like,
it wasn't.
Yeah, but, like, just, the VHS thing, like, I can't even, like... Guys, I had a Blockbuster membership card.
Right?
You're making me feel so old.
So-
Yeah, that's like a meme unto itself, is a Blockbuster card. Like, if you had a Blockbuster card, by internet terms, you are old as fuck.
There's still one Blockbuster left.
Really?
It's independently owned. They have a Twitter account, but there's
That's cute.
still one Blockbuster left.
Aren't they, like, isn't their Twitter account basically just like, hey, we're snarky assholes?
Yeah, pretty much.
Because, like, I want to give them money.
Just like there's still Radio Shacks too, people. Radio
Oh,
Shack
yeah.
actually still exists as a store. There's one in Grafton, and it still exists online. So, just in case you were wondering, unfortunately, the one that is in Grafton sucks because the people who are there or work there suck.
No.
Oh, I've almost punched the manager more than actually.
Wow.
I don't think he's still there. He got moved to the one in the mall, which then got closed down. So I was like, but he was. I almost punched him in the face a couple times.
Wow.
Because he was so condescending. And I've heard other people say that exact same thing, that like they've almost punched him in the face because he's so condescending towards
Wow.
them. Yeah.
Like, also, though, like, he's super condescending and he doesn't always actually know what he's talking about.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you interacted with him too.
Yeah, so, like, that's even the thing. It's like, you're not even talking, like, you're not just talking down to me because you know better than me. You're talking down to me because you think you know better than me, and in this instance, you actually don't.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, but he got transferred to the one at the mall, and so he got fired.
Nice.
So I'm like, good. That's karma, asshole. But yeah, it's been a next week. I'm gonna try. I want to make an effort to try to get as many people on next week as possible, because like next week is the first episode of the new year. It will also be a palate cleanser. We're gonna talk about 2016 and we're gonna leave it there, and it's done. It's done after that. But I want to try to get as many people from the company as possible, just to get everyone's point of view. But this one, it was like I legitimately thought about making this the year end because like you guys did it, and I'm like, you know what, we might as well. But then Carrie Fisher died. I'm like, no, we need to vote like a good portion of the episode to her memory because she deserves it.
She did impact a lot of lives.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I like a lot more than like we said at the beginning of the podcast, a lot more than people realize.
Yeah, and definitely a lot more than just like your standard like actor/writer.
Yeah, and in so many different ways. That's the
Yeah.
thing that's like blowing my mind too. Is it's like people aren't just like, oh, like Star Wars was my favorite. Like you said, people are like, I loved how open she was about mental illness, or people are like, she was such like a prominent female writer. Like, there's so many different angles that she was wonderful, and it's horrible.
Well, for her with the writing, it was more that she was one of the first writers to talk about mental illness the way that she did.
Yeah.
That was like whenever I was doing my I was reciting what I wrote about her. That's what I was referencing about her unique point of view, is that at the time that she was writing, people were not talking as candidly about mental illness as the way she was. It was pretty much unheard of. This was the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, she started like she lit a fire, and I don't she lit a fire I don't think she meant to light.
Yeah.
But like it's kept burning and it's keeping people very warm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I said also, like in what I wrote, she created, like, though George Lucas wrote it, her performance of Princess Leia created the modern feminist archetype in cinema. Mm-hmm. If you look at any feminist icon from 1977 on, you can draw a direct line to Princess Leia over Organa. Like, easily. Like, it's not even hard, like... There's maybe one or two other branches, but like it's not hard to do. It's pretty much a direct line to Princess Leia.
Yeah, it's like she's been, she was my favorite Star Wars character period, for a very long time. And, like, that sounds so cliche. Like, of course you like the girl. But it's like, no, like, look at her. She doesn't take shit. Like, she's not just Princess Leia. She's also been a senator and now a general. Like, she's just such a badass, and, like, she controls her own storyline in every step of the way. She doesn't, you know, she's this whole self-rescuing princess thing. Like, she doesn't need, you know, like, basically all she needed was for Luke to unlock the door.
Right.
She was good from there.
Yeah.
Just everything about her is beautiful and fantastic. And then it does help that we don't usually see women in those kinds of roles, and especially when it is like, you know, she's Princess Leia is how we're introduced to her, so like you're expecting one thing and getting another. But it's still like, that doesn't detract from the fact that on her own she is a completely awesome badass character.
I mean, she takes over for her father, which is pretty impressive. Saying that Bell Organa was the one who financed the fucking rebellion, and, like, after he died, she took over the rebellion.
Yeah, and she just, like, she watches her planet get blown up and, like, basically everybody she's known and loved die, and doesn't even flinch.
No, she flinches. I'd say that makes her sound like she's an emotionless
Okay,
bitch.
that's fair, but it's still, like, but she doesn't, like, really... You know, like, she's not going to take a break. You know, you just, it's more just like, well, this is what we're fighting for, because you just fucking did that.
Right, if anything, it adds more fuel to her fire.
Yeah.
Now I'm really, really going to kill you.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't... They've gone into StarWars.com, if you look up the New Republic, they go into it, because I think she was also a senator in the New Republic, too, but then she just got kind of sick of infighting. Like, she didn't have the patience for... But, I mean, she was a senator in the Imperial Senate at 20. Though,
Like
okay.
a boss.
Okay. Well, okay. I should also say, to be fair, I'm pretty sure there were no representatives in the Imperial Senate. But there was Senate. Okay. In the Republic, in Star Wars, senator is appointed by the leader of the planet, where representative is elected by the people. I don't think there were any representatives left. I think they got rid of those pretty quickly. So she was appointed by Bale as senator. But the fact that Bale was like, no, my 20-year-old daughter can handle this, I think says something, too.
Yeah, because Bale had a good head on his shoulders. Like, he wasn't just going to be like, she gets it because she's my daughter. Like, if she couldn't do it, she wouldn't have been doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's only in the all 4 movies that Leia's in, there's only one scene that's shitty with her, and that's the hold me scene in Jedi, which is just like, that's. But I also don't blame that on Carrie. I blame that on Richard Marquand. I feel like Richard Marquand was just like looking the other way when he was directing the movie. Like, he's just like, yeah, space, boom, boom, do shit, like. Because that scene's bad. Like, right after Luke tells Leia, that, like, they're siblings and their father is Darth fucking Vader, and that happens, and then you have Harrison Ford, Harrison Ford in the scene right after Mark leaves. And it's still bad. Like, you have all these positives, and it's still a bad scene. I'm like, that's the director. Like, you can't not blame that on the director. Fun fact: Alec Guinness couldn't remember Harrison Ford's name, so he called him Tennyson for a bit. Like, at least in a letter to his wife, he called him Tennyson.
Oh my god.
Tennyson question mark.
Wow.
In parentheses afterwards, and then in the
That's
PS,
beautiful.
he's like, in the PS, he said, so correction, Harrison.
I'm sure Harrison Ford loves that.
Right?
Well, apparently him and Boyega fucking bonded.
Yeah, I know, like, John Boyega has, like, frequently referred to him as his best friend.
Right.
To which Harrison Ford is usually like, okay, kid, sure. But, like, the fact that, like, John Boyega keeps doing it, at the very least, like, that shows they have a good enough of a relationship for them to, like, tease each other like that.
Right. That's exactly what I would do if I ever met Harrison Ford as well. Like, this is my best friend, and I shall be with him forever. That's when they got the restraining order.
Oh yeah, he's a twofer for you.
I know. It's like that's what I mean. Like, I'm not gonna be okay when he passes because I might die.
He's another. He's another. Like all three of them were that way though.
Yeah, like I never expected them to die.
I also don't see Hamill dying. You don't see Harrison dying. Same thing with Oh yeah. Also, I mean, we lost Kenny Baker this year too.
Jesus.
But that one wasn't. Well, I think no one remembers that one because he lived. Literally 10 times longer than the doctors intended him to. Because he was a little person and died at 80. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Most of the time, they don't live past 50. Like, 50's old for a little person.
Yeah, but it is still just like, and another person who died this year that we all forgot died this year because everybody fucking died this year.
But I think it's going to be the same thing with Anthony Daniels when he dies, too. That's going to be sad as fuck. I mean, it is going to get... It's going to get worse before it gets better just because a lot of the people that we know, like the big ones, I mean, don't be surprised if like Jack Nicholson dies in the next year or so. Because he's not doing well either. There's a reason why you don't see him is he has Alzheimer's like real bad.
Oh.
Yeah. That's the reason. Like he quit acting before it got crap because he couldn't remember his lines. Like that's why he quit. Like that's the reason why you haven't seen Jack Nicholson. Everybody is because he quit before he essentially embarrassed himself. Yeah, but like it's gonna get worse. But like the ones that this year they were just like they were big ones because a lot of them were like we said like though it wasn't surprising when you saw Bowie. Like, Bowie and Rickman were still relatively young. Because 60s are still fairly young at this point. Prince was a huge one. Carrie Fisher, 60s, not old. Yeah, like... Really, I mean, it's like Kenny Baker. That was, like, the only one. I'm like, yeah. I'm sure he was happy. I'm sure he was, like, smiling on his deathbed. He was just like, yeah. I lived way longer than they supposed to. Big middle finger to my doctors. But yeah, no, it's there's a lot of them. Florence Henderson, that wasn't like a super surprising one either, though. So. And
then neither was Debbie Reynolds.
Yeah.
Right.
Given what we know now, Debbie Reynolds was not surprising. But yeah, so I think we can end it there. On that bummer note. It's an appropriate way to end the last podcast of the year.
I mean, I have to honestly say, like, when your phone buzzed, I was worried. Like, because the podcast wasn't over yet.
Same.
Right? Immediately, I was like, not again.
Yeah. Especially because the last time your phone buzzed, it was Debbie Reynolds.
Right?
So, rest in peace, Debbie Reynolds. Rest in peace, Carrie Fisher, of course. May the force be with you always. So this is, like I said, this is the last episode of 2016 for Sinister DreamCast. So, I wanted to take the opportunity to thank you for listening for another year. We had some sporadic problems here and there this year, putting things up and everything, but thank you for sticking with us. It's always appreciated from everyone here. We all enjoy doing these podcasts, so I'm glad that we have people listening. It's always appreciated that there are people listening, so thank you very much for taking the time to bring us into your ear holes. And letting us entertain you with our inane babble. So, we're going to keep going. 2017, already got the pop analysis schedule finalized.
I'm so excited. Like, how many years in advance do you have these planned now? Because it's several.
I have 2021 is the one that I have all of them, but I have movies going through 2023.
Yeah, and I'm excited for like all of them.
So. And then we're gonna have a lot more guests. I'm gonna be pushing a little bit more for a lot more guests. It's just this year was a little. Recently, it's been a little hard because it's like the holidays. I think I'm gonna have to nail down the holiday schedules like 6 months in advance.
Seems legit.
But and then also next year will be our 200th episode, and we're gonna. We're looking to do something special for our episode 200, so stay tuned for that. And if you'd like to help us out, you can always go to our Patreon page, patreon.com/SDCN, and contribute there. Anything you can give us is a big help. And also, if you have the opportunity, legitimately, listen, people. Listen. Cuddle up, okay? I know you guys are listening, all right? Lipson's really good about this, okay? So why don't you, contribute by giving us a rate and review? Really appreciate that. And also, if you just want to let us know that, you're out there. We legitimately would like to know, talk to more of our listeners. I'm not saying that just for the shits and giggles. I think I can speak for the ladies here too. We would like to hear from a lot more of our listeners.
I mean, Nick Geiger started talking to all of us, and
right.
He's one of our favorite people.
Seriously, Nick Geiger is awesome.
Yeah.
So you can be like Nick and talk to us. We're easy to get a hold of. We sign off every episode with the best way to contact us directly. So do it.
Stalk us, be our fans.
We want to be friends. We want to be friends.
Let me love you.
Right?
But once again, thank you very much for listening. It's very appreciated. Fuck off 2016. We need it. This is a palate cleanser for sure. So next week we'll be in a new year.
Yay.
It will be a little bit. It will be a nice breath. I feel like. I feel like we as a society will collectively go. Right there, that felt good. Right there, that felt really good. So I'm not being overly optimistic, but I got good vibes. I got good vibes for 2017. So let's carry them on. On that note, I am Nick Kizina. Follow me on Instagram at Sinister Dreamist with no E in Sinister.
I'm Julianna Hawk, becauseanders.tumblr.com.
And I'm Keerstan. You can find me at kayth1.tumblr.com.
May the force be with you, always. And fuck off 2016. Good riddance.
Thank you, and may the Force be with you.
You have been listening to the Sinister DreamCast Network. For more from Sinister Dream Productions, check out www.sinisterdream.com.